Yo, what's up, guys? 12th Man Podcast coming back at you with a midweek show. Blaine and Brooks. Today we got to talk about the sad state of affairs, the tragedy that has become of my faithful club, the pride of London, true blue flag flying high, Chelsea Football Club, and their demise. It's been sad. Over the weekend, they took a L. Throughout the weekday, they took an L. It seems like for the last at least 4 games that haven't been club or cup competitions, they have not been able to find their way. And today we're just going to we're going to go all the way back to December and talk about the rise and the fall. So, Brooks, as you remember, first things first, Chelsea was not really in goal scoring form. They hadn't been doing well. They struggled against Brentford but beat them. Romelu Lukaku was not in the team because he had COVID and he was recovering from an ankle injury. Other players weren't performing as they weren't performing in the same way that they were last year, but they won a Champions League. Where's that badge? You know what I'm saying? Champions League winners, okay? Champions League winners. Romelu Lukaku gets back in the club, wins Aston Villa. They draw against Brighton Hove Albion, okay? Play a couple cup matches, destroy lower tier teams, namely Tottenham. Beat them back to back, okay? Got the goals going in back to back. Interview comes out previous to those games. They play Liverpool in the league, right? Big Tom makes a call, says Rom can't play. So that's the first thing, and that's what I want to talk about first, Brooks. I think that was a mistake, and I don't know if you agree with me. So I want to get your take on that. From your perspective, say you're a Chelsea club fan. You spent $100 million on a striker, right? Okay. He's out of the team. The team's not playing this formation that he thrived in at his former club and won a Scudetto. He does an interview, requests to do his own interview in his house. Right. Brings Sky Italy to the home, and he basically says, I'm not happy about not playing, and I'm not super stoked on this formation. It's not really working for me. I wish the coach would do something else. Coach justifiably is upset. And he has a decision to make. Do you sit the player or do you play the player for questioning your tactics? Versus what do you say? How do you feel? What would you do if you were the manager?
So your question is only about what, because of interview. Like, since he did that interview and said those things, would I play him the next week?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, because you're going to play him the next week. So, what are you trying to prove? That you're going to sit him one day and then play him the next? To me, it doesn't make sense. I get that he said, maybe he felt aggrieved or something. I don't know. Maybe he felt that Lukaku was being disrespectful. But, everything he said was, somewhat true. It wasn't false information, basically. It wasn't saying, basically, what he said was they're not playing to my strengths. They're not playing to, the lineup that I like. They're not telling me what they told me on my way over here. And that happens with, he has a very valid point, because you have coaches say oh, Tottenham said I would be able to spend all this money, but now they're telling me I can't. And you have players that are the owner said I could leave at the end of this season, but now I can't. So yeah, I don't think that there was an issue with what he said. Maybe how he did it and when he did it and whatever, that's a different story. But I think if I'm Thomas Tuchel, I'm still playing him.
Okay.
Because you're going to play him eventually. So what are you hurting yourself by not playing him one time?
That's okay. And that's the thing. So I agree with you. So I'm looking at it. I'm okay, he played in a 2 at Inter. He was under the impression that I am the most expensive player at this club. It would make, people might say, okay, you're the most expensive and you're supposed to be this malleable, elite tier striker. You should be able to adapt to what we got going on over here. We just won a Champions League. But the opposite is okay, yeah, I can adapt. Maybe, I've scored goals in the team. But you saw what I was doing over there. it was way more effective. And, you know, I told my boy not to come here because I don't like it. But here's the other thing I'm thinking. So he said that and it was foul. And then Thomas is like, I'm going to sit him. And I'm like, okay, your feelings are hurt. And he's like, well, the rest of the dress, I talked to the senior players in the dressing room and they said it was a distraction. And we're trying to prepare for a game. And my thought was, okay, you're playing a game literally every 3 to 4 days. You're not preparing for anything. You're recovering and just basically just keeping yourselves ready to go. But, like, you're not out on the training ground in December and January because the games are too soon. You can't do a real training session. So if Lukaku played against Aston Villa and Brighton, there was nothing would have changed for the Liverpool game. And the sad thing is because he didn't play in that Liverpool game in the league, I feel like we lost momentum. And that upsets me because it's easy to say, okay, we drew and we did fine without him. But it's like we haven't looked the same since. And you can't say, okay, you beat Tottenham Hotspur because Tottenham Hotspur doesn't count. Okay, that did not count to me. That did not count. That's almost like beating Newcastle. And I'm not being disrespectful to Newcastle. They just haven't signed anybody yet. Okay, and I had another thought, Brooke. So I had another thought. But if people are like, okay, Rom was being disrespectful. But let me give this to you from my man's perspective. Because everyone knows I'm a big Rom fan. I'm a big fan, and I will say it. So check this out. You come to Chelsea when you're in grade school. You do a tour there. You fall in love with the club. They come sign you when you're a teenager. They say, you know what? Like my man, and I was thinking about this the other night, and I was hot. I got heated. They're not as disrespectful as Barcelona, but they borderline can be.
You're still heated right now. I love it. I love to see this.
So they brought my man Mohamed Salah to the club. They said, you're not good enough. Get the heck out of here. He's come back to haunt us. They did it to Kevin De Bruyne. Get the heck out of here. He won't even look at the club in the face anymore. So Romelu Lukaku is almost the same thing. He comes to the club. They're like, you know what? You're not good enough yet. We're going to send you to West Brom. Comes back off a loan. We're going to send you to Everton. He performs admirably at Everton. Okay, not a goal every game, not a goal every other game, but a goal almost every other game. Okay, we'll say 45% of the time he's going to score a goal, which ain't bad. And that's at Everton, playing with Ross Barkley, right? Okay, another Chelsea disrespected player. We won't even talk about that right now. I love my man Ross, too. Truth is, I went out to Everton to check those boys out and watch them beat Man U in 2016. Anyway, that's another story. Or maybe it was 2014. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. The point I'm making is Romelu Lukaku then gets sold to Everton full-time. From there, Man U, which was a little bit of a disaster if you leave it to the press. From there, Inter Milan, Brooks, right? He goes to Inter Milan. What happens?
Amazing.
He succeeds, right? Okay, so Inter Milan, they come to the end of the season. They win the Scudetto. Antonio Conte's like, y'all got to liquidate money and sell players. I can't deal with this. I'm out. Achraf Hakimi gets sold. Chelsea comes in and makes an offer for Romelu Lukaku, but he's thinking, okay, Chelsea sold me. They never played me. They don't want me. I'm thinking about making a big move, big clubs. I'm thinking Real Madrid. I'm thinking Bayern Munich. I'm thinking Paris Saint-Germain. He's not thinking Chelsea is going to come back and buy him because they've disrespected him so much and hurt his confidence so much. He's like, I'll never go back there. And then, you know what? $100 million bid comes in, or 100 million euro pound bid comes in for Rom. He's like, okay, I'm back here. And now he has like, it's like a toxic relationship. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like you go back to your ex who treated you poorly, but you still want to show your best. But like you still might show the side that lets them know, like, I don't like you that much, really. It's like, I love you, but I'm going to still like make things hard for you sometimes. And that's, I mean, does that sound accurate? That's how it
Yeah,
feels.
absolutely. But then my question is, why did he go back there? That's what I want to know. Like, De Bruyne would never do it. Mo Salah would never do it. Tammy Abraham at this point, I mean, he probably wouldn't do it either. I don't get why he went back there.
The only thing I can think is, so Inter Milan needed the money. And they're like, listen, you love the club. They're offering us $100 million for you. Nobody else has offered $100 million. We would really use this $100 million. He knows the situation, and he probably was I mean, from what I've understood, he got pressure from Inter Milan. The same way Erling Haaland's getting pressure. It's like, yo, we need you to like do this.
Yeah, but there were more than just Chelsea that wanted him.
No, but no one made a $100 million bid or €100 million bid. There were no other.
But that doesn't
bids.
go to him though.
No, but and that's the thing. Inter Milan was like, yo, go with the people that are giving you the biggest, that give us the most money,
Yeah.
and they'll also give you the most money. I mean, I guarantee Bayern Munich wouldn't pay what Chelsea pays.
Totally.
But at the same time,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but if you look at some of the decisions he's made in his career, it's clear to me that he is a man about money. He signed to Rock Nation. He signed a deal. Anyone that signs a deal with Puma, you know what that says to me? You're about your money. Nothing else is more important to you than money. There's no other reason. That's my take. That's my take.
I agree, and that's been what now 4 Chelsea players in like a month.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I agree, but I also think that like Thomas is Tuchel, whatever you say that. I think that I just don't think that he's treating him right either. Like, so going back to what you said, like, yeah, he benched him for one game for having that interview, which was again silly because you're not gonna pull a Mikel Arteta and like bench him for the rest of the season. If you're gonna bench him, then bench him. Like,
I agree. If you're gonna bench him, bench him.
Right, he's fit. He's scoring. Like when he came back during the December season. Like he scored 2 or 3 games in a row.
Yeah,
or at least 2 in a row.
Two in a row. Drew a penalty. He was the difference.
Yeah, and so then you're right. You pull him. You mess with his confidence, and then like my biggest issue. Well, I have 2 things. One, did you really sit down with like the senior players of the team and discuss? Do I play Lukaku? That we paid for 100 million and that he can score goals left and right? Because I don't believe that you did, first of all. Second of all, if you really did, why aren't you going to your team and you're saying, hey, is what Marcos Alonso is doing good? How do you feel about a real issue at hand? So, and then the other thing is, like, I just think that he doesn't like Lukaku because he's done this to him. And then after the City game, he singled out, he said his team didn't play well and they lost possession, but he said this goes for Lukaku too. He had a chance, he messed it up, he lost possession, blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't go after the one person that's, you don't single that one person out, I don't think. Especially when, like, there's a little bit of controversy, like you can feel there's this tension along, and he's got a little bit of a confidence issue, I feel like, right now. Like, he was flying high at the beginning of the season, but then he got injured, and then he was doing something, this interview, and then he got benched. Like, you don't do that to a pro. To me, that's bad coaching.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel. Like, did they have a great game? No. But they had a shot on goal. I mean, I don't know how many, but he did. He had a pretty great shot, but Ederson had a really great block. And I don't know, I don't feel like what he said was right. But I mean, had it been a different goalkeeper that wasn't rushing him and had as much confidence as Ederson had, I feel like that would have been a goal, Yeah, and it was a well taken chance.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. It's like nothing good has ever come from a manager rubbishing a player or singling out a player in a post match interview. Nothing good will ever come from that. And I'm not saying like nothing good has come from a player criticizing their manager's tactics in an interview. Like, I'm not saying that. But as a manager, especially in a club like Chelsea, your job is to get results and to have thicker skin. It's almost like a parent-child relationship. It's like you wouldn't expect a parent, not excusing anyone's behavior, but 2 wrongs don't make a right here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, at the end of the day, like you said, like, if you talk to the senior players, what they say about what Marcos Alonso doing right now, also, I don't really buy it. I'm like, if I go to Thiago Silva, if I go to Cesar Azpilicueta, Jorginho Conte, maybe even Mason Mount, it's like, yo, this guy is basically effectively won us or drew us or got us. He was the difference in our last 2 games. He did this interview 3 weeks ago. Should I bench him for the second or, at the time, biggest match of our season where we have all this momentum? I mean, he didn't say anything bad about you guys. He just said that I think we should be playing 2 strikers. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and it's not like he was like trash talking him like Tuchel was after that game. All he was saying was like, yo, they're just like, essentially they're not playing to my strength. They're not playing how they told me they would play, which is why I signed the thing and I'm here.
Yeah.
That's all he's saying. He's not saying this sucks and they're not going to win. No, like obviously they're not doing. I mean, they're starting to fall right now, but during that time they were still in like second place. Maybe even were they in first place at that point in December?
They were in first until they. Well, actually, no. Maybe they.
So my point is that they were still playing with. It's not like he was saying our tactics suck. He's saying they're not playing to my strengths, and they told me that they would. And I mean, you can say maybe he's whining or whatever, but it's
sure.
They asked his opinion. They didn't. He had an interview for Sky Italia. They asked his opinion. They asked his thoughts. The dude was just straight up and honest and saying, "Look, this is X, Y, and Z."
Yeah, which I mean, and Chelsea fans are divided. Like some fans are like, "Shut up, play the game." Other fans are like, "Okay, like that's respectable. You gave an honest answer." And other players are like, "You know what? Like, if I have a player that really thinks he could do better, would I rather him just do what he keeps doing or challenge?" And he wasn't even challenging. He was just saying like, "I'm not happy because I prefer playing this way." And we're not doing that. And it's like, you can't really be mad at a guy. First, it's like, Russell, I mean, we won't even bring other people. It's just like, yeah, man, like, I want to do it this way. But we aren't, so I'm not happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Ibra and Pep. I mean, his famous quote was, "You don't buy a Ferrari to keep it in the garage." When you buy Ibra, you have especially in 09, 08, when you buy Ibra, you know what you're buying Ibra for. You're not buying Ibra to tell him to like sit down and drive an Audi to work. Like you're buying Ibra for everything that he comes with, and winning is one of those things. And essentially over the last 2 years that we saw in Italy, that's what they were buying Lukaku for. And not only were they buying Lukaku for that, they were paying 100 million for Lukaku.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you not playing this guy? Why are you not this is an investment, I guess, and now you're treating it like you're trying to sell already is what it seems like. So it just looks bad to me.
So I guess that will be the final point. Is like, is there a decision to be made here? Does he need to leave the club? Does Rom need to leave? Does Thomas Tuchel need to leave? And for me, if for me, honestly, I as a fan, my thought process is like, okay, on one hand, like, full disclosure, Chelsea didn't want Romelu Lukaku. They wanted Erling Haaland.
Right.
They wanted Erling Haaland. It didn't work out. He was the backup plan. So, I mean, it is what it is. If another club came in and said, "Yo, we want to give you 100 million for Rom," I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. If they want to fire Thomas Tuchel because he can't, so let me say one other thing. So we have a lot of equity right now in terms that we won a Champions League final against Manchester City. They already did the double on us in the league this year, right? We couldn't get close. I mean, we got close, but we couldn't really get. It was never really a competition. We got one shot and Ederson saved it, and Tom went nuts. The point I'm making is, like, Chelsea, the way Chelsea are set up right now, we are set up to win tournaments, knockout tournaments. We are not set up to go 38 games strong.
Yeah.
Like, we are set up to win games by one. Sure, we went crazy on Madrid last campaign, but we are set up to win games by one goal and not concede. When you get goals from like 9 different people in the team, the goals are literally coming from everywhere. So it's like, we are set up, so maybe Conte gets a goal, then Mason Mount gets a goal, then Pulisic gets a goal, and we get a header from Rudiger or Thiago. Like, we are set up to go deep in a tournament, grind out a result. But that same type of philosophy doesn't work when you're going up against mid-table teams that are, like, willing to die for a point.
Yeah, especially against Chelsea.
Against Chelsea. So it's just like, it's like one thing, and it's like the same thing. Like back when Zinedine Zidane was like winning back-to-back Champions Leagues, or when Jose Mourinho was winning Champions Leagues with Porto and Inter. It's like winning the league, a Champions League with those teams. There's nothing. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying there's teams that are built for tournaments and there's teams that are built for titles.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have a friend that coaches high school soccer, and he's like, "Yo, bro, like, playing high school soccer is different because there's only like 8 to 12 games in a season. So you just got to get results. It's not about being pretty. It's not about longevity. It's basically about getting a goal and parking the ship or parking the bus and getting the 3 points. So so it's like to win the tournament and then to think that that's like instantly going to translate into winning a title. All I can say is Madrid won 3 Champions Leagues back to back to back and didn't even come close to a title in 3 years.
Yeah, and I mean you're absolutely right, and I can't agree with you more, especially about the like that you are kind of built to kind of be a Jose Mourinho style where like you win 1-0, but at the same rate like you don't have that keeper right now. You're not going to have him for a while, but you're still playing like you have the best keeper in the world back there.
Don't even bring that up.
No disrespect.
That hurts.
No disrespect to Kepa, but he's just not. He's not the same. He's not. I feel like it's like.
It's a different team without Mendy in the goal. It's a different team.
You have to know that you will give up a goal.
You are going to give up a goal without doubt. And
so when you have a $100 million striker that had just proven himself for the last 2 years, like you need to play to that strength. So again, this is going to sound crazy because he did just win Champions League and he is still deep in the Champions League this season. I just think it's bad coaching. I just think that it's not a good like man management. It's not great coaching. People are going to hate on this, but like I do think that knowing that he's missing the greatest keeper. I mean, he literally was like voted. Was it just best keeper of this Premier League, or was it?
It was like FIFA Pro best in the world. Or
you're missing that guy, so you can't rely on him. And you do have a bit of an aging back line back there, especially with Thiago. I still think he's amazing, but he's not the same Thiago that he's been. Like you will give up goals, so you need to score these goals. You need to rely on people that can score goals right now. And you have someone who can do that week in and week out. And it's just like he's just not playing to that strength.
Yeah. Which is crazy. Because it's like if you did play to that strength, you might end up getting 2 to 3 goals a game. And that would possibly... Because without a doubt, I'm banking on us conceding a goal a game until the AFCON is over or Senegal gets knocked out and they send Mendy home. God willing, he doesn't contract Omicron. Get him back between the sticks. But anyway, I don't know, man. That's all I got to say. I just wanted to get that off my chest. At this point, like obviously Chelsea's not going to win the league. It's City, so congratulations, Manchester City. You have won the league. We aren't catching you. Liverpool's not catching you. No one's catching you. We might win the Champions League. I won't rule it out. We could still win 3 cup competitions. That's not out of the realm of possibility at all. So, and Champions or FIFA World Cup, Club World Cup coming up in 2 weeks. So, there's a lot to look forward to. But in terms of a 38 game title, this ain't it.
Yeah, it's not. It's not this season. I mean, and I don't know that it'll be with.
It won't be with Lukaku or Tuchel. One of the two has to go.
Yeah.
And I don't know who it is, but whoever it ends up being, if it's Lukaku, I wish him all the best. I'll buy your jersey wherever you go. And just the problem Chelsea has is like a lot of times we don't. The manager and the sporting director aren't in agreement of what kind of striker they want. Yeah. I mean, we haven't got our striker situation straight since Diego Costa left the club. Alvaro Morata, flop. Radamel Falcao, flop. Tammy Abraham, young boy, did his thing with Frank, but ultimately wasn't good enough to run a team that is expected to finish top 4 every season. So we won't call him a flop, but he dropped. Now we got our old man back, and it's starting, honestly, I mean, he's scoring some goals, but it's not what I thought it was going to be when we signed him. So as of right now, I got to call it a flop.
But here's what I would like to see. I mean, it's hard to, it's sucky because like, what is it, 5-15 in the Premier League, but let's just move him up to North London, throw on a red jersey. We all know that Aubameyang needs to be replaced. He could help, Arsenal break into the top 4 and stay there and potentially, challenge for some titles down the next couple of years.
But that leaves
Arsenal has a history of buying your flops, is what I'm trying to say.
I'll tell you who wasn't a flop. Olivier Giroud. That man was not a flop.
Yeah, but you bought him from us.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we don't buy the flops.
You don't know how to do that. We love buying flops.
Yeah. I tell you who else, man. Ashley Cole.
Yo, let's not. Yeah.